style display. Brandon Elrich is so gay. We're living.
Hello, everyone. This is Brandon Elrich with Brandon Elrich is So Gay. This is episode 35 of season 1 of my podcast. This week, I am uploading the audio version of a video I did with Wendy the Druid and the poet Miranda. We talked about trauma associated with birthdays, Tranniversaries, and anniversaries. Part of the reason I brought up that subject is because I am a Virgo, so I may or may not have had a birthday recently, or will have one very shortly. Actually, by the time this gets published, I guess I will have already had the birthday. So, anyway, if you want to get me a birthday present, become a paid subscriber. That would really help me out. Well, without further ado, we will get into today's episode. Thanks. So, good afternoon, everyone. I thought today I would like to talk about trauma associated with birthdays and Tranniversaries. And anniversaries too, I guess. I mean, for certain events and things like that. So part of the reason I picked this subject is I read a post by Miranda. I think, was it called 101?
101
I don't remember
weeks.
101 weeks. Yeah. And
I put the link in the chat.
yes. And you had mentioned in there that your Tranniversary was approaching. Wendy has mentioned that her birthday was at the end of August, I believe. I'm a Virgo, so I may have had a birthday recently or will have one coming up. So since all of us
There's only a few more Virgo days left, so
yes,
it's one of these days.
Yeah, it's I didn't want to say it's a particular month because Virgo runs from the end of August through
right.
toward the end of September. But anyway, so we all kind of have these things in common, and I know a lot of times with birthdays, they can trigger some negative memories. And with me, I don't necessarily have trauma with my birthday. I don't like it really. I mean, I've always had this kind of theory that if we didn't keep track of our birthdays, that we would live longer. And I think you can say that an age is just a number. You can say that all day long, but in the back of your mind, you've got this like I'm 30 years old now, or I'm 50 years old, I'm halfway to death, or whatever it is,
Right. It's just a number, but you know what the number is.
Exactly. It's still back there. And, if you live to 100, even 50 would be halfway, and a lot of people don't. But, and it's hard to combat that when your mind's got that in there, and we celebrate it every year and everything. And, it's associated with getting older, the signs of aging. A lot of people embrace it. They're like, oh, these wrinkles represent wisdom and whatnot. But then a lot of other people just, they don't like to look older. They don't like the signs of aging. I don't. And that also leads, of course, to thoughts of end of life, afterlife. So there's just a lot of things kind of associated with that day, that anniversary of your birth. And especially like in the queer community, there's so much self-hatred that you might even resent the day that you were born, you know, or at the very least resent being born the way you were.
Yeah, definitely. I would
Yeah.
definitely. That's true. Yeah.
So, celebrating that doesn't seem like such a happy event sometimes, And it also leads to like you get to certain points in your life and you start comparing to other people. I've reached this milestone or whatever. I'm not as successful as this person who's, I mean, I do it all the time. I look at these young content creators, TikTok videos and stuff. I'm like, all these people, they're only in their 20s and they're making all this money doing virtually nothing. I'm like, I get so frustrated sometimes with that. I'm like, and I've worked and worked and
In
I'm,
my
I'm,
day, we worked real
oh,
hard.
yeah,
That's the way it was in Plankton.
I know. Yes. And but it's so hard not to compare yourself to others. At least
Yeah, I'm
it
like
always
I'm
has
over
been for
here like writing things and I could have just made memes.
right.
Yeah. Why can't I just have perfected AI much faster and then use that all the fuck over YouTube and all the other social media platforms that made it popular and had millions of dollars on it versus sitting here and having real human conversation. By the way, when I make that statement, I want to say that it is more important for me as a person to sit here and have real emotional human
Oh
connection.
yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think so too.
Um,
But it's also like I'm pouring my heart and soul into this thing and I can barely earn a living, And this this guy, as hot as he may be, is just sitting on video and flexing and you know, I
there's a
I don't know.
there's a paradigm to be made there. Not to get off topic, but just talking specifically about the concept around the great American novel and or writing in general. And the paradigm that you see there is one of my favorite novelists is a guy named Philip K. Dick. Brilliant science fiction author. He wrote the source material for Blade Runner, and he wrote the source material for um, a bunch of other movies, and so forth and so forth. But later in his life, while he had done all of that, he was working at a McDonald's,
Mm,
and that you the thing you pour your heart and soul into. Yeah, Man in the High Castle was a Philip K. Dick writing. Um, and yeah, uh, do androids dream of electric sheep? Oh, and the Total Recall. We can remember it for you wholesale was the Total Recall story.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's a paradigm in talking about. I write a queer bar story every night. You know, 80 years from now, will those get unearthed and people read them and think, wow, this was amazing for the, I can hope so,
yeah.
but
And that is the thing that like the TikTokers that I'm talking about, they're not going to last.
Right.
They put out very I'm not saying all of them because there are some that actually teach things and they show you how to kind of how to stuff like that, but there are a lot of them that are just putting out very superficial content and they have what they might see as success. And again, of course, success is relative. You know,
Right.
they they're earning money doing things that are very superficial, and they're not going to last. And
I,
they're
I, yeah, I agree.
and they're going to get older. They will eventually show those signs of aging and stuff. And if all they've done up until that point is superficial stuff, what do they have to show for it? What are they going to do for the rest of their life? So
Yeah,
there is kind of you have to look at it at different perspectives too. But anyway, um, so there's also still talking on the subject of birthdays, the birthdays of loved ones who have passed away. That can be very traumatic.
Yeah.
I mean, when my boyfriend's birthday comes up, that I definitely think of that leading up to and on the day of. Actually, I feel like it's even more, for me, it's even more profound his birthday rather than the anniversary of his death.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I mean, I guess because I always remember his birthday no matter what.
Yeah.
And as far as his death goes, yeah, I remember that day as an event in my mind and how I heard about it and how I reacted and everything. I may not remember exactly the date, because that to me is less significant than just the memory of it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
right.
Makes sense.
Yeah, very much. My relationship with my birthday is very complicated, and the reason that it is one of the reasons that it is complicated is because 6 days before my birthday is Zoe's birthday, my mother.
Hmm.
And so historically, that whole week from the 25th of August to the 31st of August was a very painful week because she would drink a lot. And the more she drank, the more aggressive and physically and emotionally abusive she got. And so, an example would be for years, um, you know, after I left the house and moved away and moved as far away as possible, um, she would still call me up every year. And like an idiot, I would answer the goddamn phone and I would hear the same speech every year. And that speech involved being told I was a condom baby. I was a baby who was born through a condom, that my life was a mistake, and that I would never amount to anything. And I heard that for years. I heard that for years face to face. I heard it for years after over the phone. And so that's one of the reasons why my birthday is such a difficult time. She's been dead since 2014, and I am still afraid of that phone call
Yeah.
very much.
So what, if anything, do you do when your birthday approaches to kind of combat those feelings?
A lot of very not healthy things. Usually, usually what I do is I get up in the morning, I smoke a shit ton of weed, and then I take a very heavy, sedative dose. Usually like 4 tabs of valerian root, and I just try to sleep through it.
Yeah.
This last year I didn't.
Like delete this day and wake up tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. If I could just sleep through the day entirely and not be conscious of the day, then I wouldn't have the anxiety over, being afraid of something that, like I said, since 2014 hasn't happened because she's dead. And I want to point out that there has been the statement by one of my siblings that um, the one of my maternal siblings from my mother's one of my from my mother's other marriage, Jono, has told me eventually one day he'll start calling me on my birthday and doing the same thing
Hmm.
because he thinks that trauma should continue. Because my brother loves to torture me, has for a long
Hmm.
time. Hasn't happened, but yeah,
But there's the specter of the threat of it happening.
yeah, yeah. So it's always, how can I just erase myself for a day so I don't have to face that trauma or even thinking about it?
Yeah.
It's hard.
So obviously
So,
that's the unhealthy way to deal with it. Do you ever think about, or have you ever tried, healthy ways to deal with it?
So this year I actually tried to channel the emotion behind the essence of my birthday in a way that was less destructive and more intuitive. And so for the first half of the day, I channeled my energy into writing.
Yeah.
yeah.
I wrote a shit ton of, I wrote 5 of the Christian deconstruction articles that day. And I wrapped a lot of cussy language around it too. So, um, and then at
In
the end,
accordance with prophecy.
yes, in accordance with the prophecy. Yeah, exactly. But then at the end of it, I would say at the end of it, my partner, Aubrey, planned to take me to my favorite Italian restaurant. And what made that special, and I dropped this in our Signal chat, our publication Signal chat.
I remember you saying you were going there.
Yeah, and so what it was like uh, Aubrey had worked it out that Gizmo,
Yeah.
my middle child, who I have a very loving relationship with, but I have a very complicated relationship with. It's very difficult. It's one of the reasons why I mention her as often as I do in the queer stories, because those are the mentions of her that I put in those stories. Those are the things that I miss that don't happen anymore and haven't
Yeah.
for a while. And so, um, yeah, we went to my favorite Italian place, and her mom was there, and her mom was like behaved. We weren't having conflict or whatever. We were just at this Italian restaurant, and I was drinking my favorite wine, had my favorite plate of chicken marsala, and I was in a good place. And so yeah, that made it a good day.
So definitely compared to past birthdays, it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was much more approachable, and it was much more engaging, and it was much more beneficial, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that give you hope for future birthdays that this type of feeling could be repeated.
Yeah, like it's the start of reclaiming it.
Right.
Um,
She's like, I made it through the day.
She doesn't want she doesn't want to admit it, does she?
um, yes, it does.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. God damn it, Brandon.
Well, we'll come back to you in a little bit. How's that? So
Yeah,
Miranda,
now it's gonna be my turn to cry.
that's right.
Yeah, so I'm posting my article link again. So there's a term from my article that you use that I want to define for everybody because I don't know if everybody in the chat knows that term, and that's tranniversary.
Yeah.
Um, and basically, for a trans person, that is like representative of like them coming into themselves. Some trans people um, mark that date, some people don't. Um, and for some people, it's like, um, this was the day I came out to myself, or this was the day I came out to my partner or my best friend, or it's the day they came out publicly, or it's the day they started HRT. Um, it's, whatever it needs to be for that person. Um, and for me, my actual birthday was always um, a reminder that I was living a life that wasn't what I wanted to be, that I wasn't
Yeah.
who I wanted to be. Um, so every year I would get severely depressed starting in September. And then by the time October 28th rolled around, people were celebrating me, but I hated it because they were celebrating dead name.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were celebrating this person who was playing a certain role. Um, so I felt like um, I wasn't being celebrated. Like it was, um, they're celebrating, and I'm over here hiding in the dark. Um, so like during my coming out process, um, that was something that um, my birthday was part of that. Um, I was doing a lot of introspection for 2 or 3 years before I came out, trying to figure out like, what the hell's going on with me. Um, but it was really coming to a head in like July, August, September, approaching me turning 40 in October. Because I felt like the milestone birthday, the on a decade birthday
Oh yeah.
was a bigger block. It was like, if I turn 40 and I don't have this gender thing figured out, then I never will. And I'm just going to keep coasting until I'm gone. I'll never live my life. Um, so I was like, I want to, I came out to my wife in September of 2023, and I, really wanted to make sure that I came out before my birthday the next month. 'Cause it was like I had let myself get to a point with my dysphoria, depression spiraling that, coming out to her just like that was the dam coming down. And there was not going to be, you know, you're out to your family privately for a year while you prepare to come out, which is like a lot of people do that, and that's probably, you know, a lot healthier. But, I saw this thing coming up that had always been a barrier for me. And so it was like, I need to come out before my birthday so that I head into this next decade on the right foot, you know? Um, so I ended up um coming out on October 6th of 2023. Um, and how I did that was like leading up to that date. Um, I had coming out conversations with the rest of my family. Um, so they knew it was coming. I talked to my management at work, um, about creating a plan there for my transition. And I set myself a date and I was like, we're going to do this. It's going to be on a Friday and I'm going to, um, go to the Friday morning meeting and then take the rest of the day off and drop a company-wide email with my coming out, and then, HR would follow up with a supportive email and, uh, you know, some basic resources and stuff. Um, and then so, like, I did that, and then I went home and I did my public announcement. Um, 'Cause it's well, when you're trans, then you're, like, changing your name on social media, you kinda have to talk about that, a little bit more publicly than, like, some other coming out situations. But, so, I had my wife do me up in makeup, and, um, I
You hadn't
typed up
figured out how to do it by then?
I had figured out how to do, like, um, some basic skills, but I hadn't figured out the colors, I hadn't figured out the, um, hiding the beard nonsense that trans women have to do. Um, and, like, I had been occasionally on weekends wearing eyeliner and maybe mascara for several weeks. Um, but yeah, I wanted the full thing. So, Carolyn did my makeup for me, and then, um, we took some pictures, and I did this long write up on, like, this is what's going on with me and my new name, and you're welcome to unfriend me if you don't approve, if you don't want to join me for this part of my journey.
Right.
Um, and maybe 10 or 12 people out of 1,000 Facebook friends unfriended me over the next 2 or 3 days. Um, and I talked before about that. I had the separate thing where I had sent my uh, grandpa a coming out letter before
Right.
coming out publicly,
Oh yeah.
and he posted the day after I came out um, a meme about how God knows your gender and you can't change it, and then unfriended me. So like that was his dramatic exit.
Mm.
But yeah, so for me, like October 6th is a day that I feel like really celebrates me, and like I, you know, think about my upcoming Tranniversary, and um like that was the day that Miranda was born.
Yeah.
And then that made it easier 3 weeks later when my birthday did come around that finally we're celebrating me, not just an idea of me, but really me.
So now, do you still feel that depression in the weeks leading up to your to those both those days?
Um, I I don't have just it's different. So like I still have a little bit of like heading into fall like seasonal
Yeah, yeah,
depression. Like I'm like I love fall. I love all the colors changing and oh I'm sad.
yeah.
So like, that's still going on, but like um no, the other thing is totally flipped. Totally flipped.
That's good. That's great.
Like now I'm like, you know, hell yeah, let's do this. Put all the fucking candles. I'll blow them out. It's cool. Um,
I sort of feel like the last couple of birthdays that I've had, um, when my birthday comes around and I think about it, I cut myself a piece of cake. Um, because that's the healthier thing to do.
Right. Yeah, to plan things that you really want to do. Go out with friends or family family that you like, and,
Right.
and
yeah,
actually do things that you want to do. Plan things, especially for that day that you enjoy, that might distract you from what you normally might have felt in the past. And that's kind of what I've done. I mean, I've had depression on more like leading up to my birthday. And I don't, I mean, there are a few times that I've gone out with friends or had some kind of celebration that was fun, but I don't know. I've always, for the most part, I've never liked uh well, I mean, for a long time I didn't like myself, so I I guess that was kind of associated with my birthday too. It's like I don't want to celebrate myself. What, you know?
yeah,
I don't I don't think anybody else really wants to celebrate me either. So why bother
Brandon,
with all this?
Brandon, I want to celebrate you.
Well, thank you.
Me
and
too.
the other thing, thank you.
Yeah.
But the other thing is like, well, like I said earlier that if we didn't keep track of our birthdays, that we would live longer, and I think we would just go about our lives and be happy and celebrate whatever we wanted whenever we wanted. It doesn't have to be only on this day that we celebrate ourselves or celebrate other people. I think a lot of times birthdays are more for the people around us than they are for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people that care about you want to celebrate you, and they use that day to do it. Give you presents or whatever. But just for anybody watching, you can give me presents any time throughout the year. You don't have to wait.
I I have an interesting birthday story that happened right on top of my Tranniversary, actually. It was the year of my birthday that was also the year of my Tranniversary. And the thing that made it fun was there was a girl that I was dating at the time. Drea is her name. And she had come to my house, and then a bunch of people were at my house, like all of my trans and queer friends. Gizmo was there. Gizmo's mom was there, and a bunch of other people. And then Drea got everybody in the room sort of centered around in like on my couch or whatever. We were all sitting in a giant circle. And Drea said, I want everyone to go around the room and tell me your favorite Wendy story.
Mm.
And that actually made my birthday that day tolerable.
Yeah.
Because I think the thing that makes people sad is, especially around their birthday, is that one, you realize you're getting older, and then two, you realize that, or you think that people don't remember.
Yeah.
And so this is why I say this. Miranda knows what I mean when I say this, but when I build this community and there are people who participate in the community, I have two rules. And the two rules are really easy to follow. And rule number one is don't forget about anybody in the community, myself included. And then two, when people ask, occasionally say nice things, because you can't always say nice things about a person, but you can occasionally say nice things. And so
Mhm.
those are I hate to say that, but those are the conditions of my friendship. Because, as you suggest, Brandon, that's the very thing that I want to avoid, is the belief that I'm getting older and nobody remembers, that interaction.
Yeah. That they don't care.
Right. So,
I had that. Oh, sorry.
no.
I, um, a few years ago, I decided I wanted to do something fun for my birthday. I wanted to go play pickleball. And there's this place in North Kansas City called Chicken and Pickle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a chain, small, not too many. I think there are one in Texas and a couple other places. But anyway,
I think
you
we might
play.
have one or two here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking this
yeah.
up.
It's
Talking.
Chicken and Pickle. It's a lot of fun. I mean, they have pickleball courts, of course, and other outdoor games. At least in a couple that are nearby. But and it's a restaurant bar kind of place. They serve a lot of chicken sandwiches and lots of chicken, of course, chicken and pickle. And they have live music and trivia nights and stuff like that. Anyway, it's fun. But I invited several people, a couple family members, a couple friends, and basically nobody could go. You know, they had other things going on, and they were busy with their lives and their kids and whatnot. And I ended up going, and it was kind of depressing. It was like this one day out of the year, you can't just maybe schedule this just for me, just this one day. And
Yeah.
that's how I felt about it. I was like, and it was kind of depressing, and I felt like I was um disregarded, kind of. um but I ended up asking a coworker who was, we were acquaintances. We weren't like real close friends, but we talked a lot and stuff, and he went with me, and we had dinner, we played pickleball, and it was fun. But one thing I realized after that is the expectation was what was disappointing me. I was disappointing in myself because I was putting these expectations on people who, like, one friend that I asked, he's always too busy. He's kind of selfish in a lot of ways, and I shouldn't have even expected that he would show up, because it's not in his character anyway, you know?
Yeah.
And people with kids, they have their lives and everything, got things scheduled and everything, and I'm expecting them to drop all of that. And I was putting up these expectations, and they weren't doing anything that was disappointing me. I disappointed myself because of my expectations. So the following year, I did this again. I rented, or I reserved a pickleball court. I invited a bunch of people, but this time it was my attitude that was different. I was like, if nobody shows up, I don't care. I'm not expecting anybody to show up. You know, there were a couple people that I asked that I knew they had committed that they were going to come, so I knew that I would have at least a couple people there. But
Right.
this time, everybody that I asked showed up, which which is just so crazy. The time that I don't expect them to, I'm like, whatever. You don't show up, fine. I don't care. Yeah, it doesn't matter. And then they do, you know.
Hmm.
But it was more surprising, and it was like they exceeded my expectations, and so that made it a lot more enjoyable and made it more fun. Um, so anyway, I'm not sure if that was beneficial or not, but that that helped not make it as depressing, because I wasn't like building up this thing like this needs to be fun, this needs to be great, this needs to be a fun day for me and everything, and then being let down. I set realistic expectations, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But
I've had a similar experience, and it did not go well. It was when I was younger, and foolishly, I let Zoe plan a birthday activity, and the activity happened in a tavern. And I went to the tavern, and I waited, and they brought out like 3 full-size platters of food, and there were 9, you know, tankards of beer. And I sat there alone.
Mm.
And I had invited like 15, 20 people. And I sat there alone and continued to sit there alone for the entire night. And, after 2 hours went away, I offered all the food to the patrons in the tavern, went home. Zoe laughed about it and asked me if anybody showed up. I didn't answer because she knew
Yeah.
that no one
Yeah.
had.
Anyone who would have like RSVP'd, yes, she probably would have undercut that some way to make sure that they didn't show
Yeah,
up.
because that was the type of person she was. And so, yeah, I didn't answer, and I went to my room and I shut the door and I I cried myself to sleep. But um, and so that fed into why I don't like that day much. I love my Tranniversary much better than my birthday, but I should also point out that my Tranniversary, which I consider the day I started HRT, was January 6th.
Yeah. Oh, I think I remember you mentioning that one.
Um, yeah.
Well, at least somebody was fighting for freedom that day.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to make a positive out of a negative.
Well, so going back to that event, kind of like in my situation, you were putting expectations on someone that you're trying to make her something that she wasn't. Basically, you were expecting her to be there for you and to create this good moment when that's not the kind of person she was.
No. And from my perspective, and I think there are people who will understand this sentiment, is that with Zoe, well, for one, I was a people pleaser with her. And as a people pleaser, an emotional monitoring person, I did that to avoid from the abuse that I sustained when I was a kid. But the other thing too was that I always held out hope that if I did what she wanted me to do, if I behaved the way that she wanted me to behave, that she would eventually turn into a mother.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
It just never happened.
yeah. We
And
want to believe that we can change people that are horrible.
right. There's that whole narrative about, if you're a guy, you marry your mom. And if you're a woman, you marry your dad. And why do you do that? And the psychology of why that happens is literally rooted in the fact that you're marrying somebody like your parent because you're trying to rehabilitate your relationship with your parent. And you can't do that with your parent because of the parent child dynamic. So you marry somebody
Mhm.
like your parent in an attempt to rehabilitate that relationship. And that doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say any more about that because I'll start crying again.
Well, we are nearing the top of the hour. Do either of you have any more to add to this subject? Anybody in the
Sure.
chat, actually? If,
Yeah.
while
Go.
you're talking, I guess I'll just ask if anybody in the chat has kind of trauma from their particular birthday or anniversary type event.
Yeah, so I was talking about like, reclaiming things and also about, like the barrier that my birthday felt like for me. Um, One of the ways that I reframed that barrier is um to like celebrate myself and who I am on my Tranniversary, and then on my given birthday, um like celebrate the defiance of being a queer person in this country at this time.
Right.
I I've said in places before that like I spent the first 40 years of my life not wanting to live. And now I want nothing more than to have 40 more years. I want to grow old with my spouse. I want to see what my kids make of their lives. And I want to enjoy as much of it as I can. And so like when the when my birthday comes around and the number goes up one more click, like it's like, hell yeah, I got him for another year. So
If you have, you have things to look forward to.
I the only thing that I have to add is that I agree with you utterly and inexorably. I mean, I wouldn't be going to a Judas Priest concert tonight with my kid if I didn't believe that, one, I was going to be my authentic self while doing it, and two, I would be doing it with my kids.
yeah,
So yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like now I have things to look forward to. I can enjoy my life more being who I am. So I don't have to be depressed about being alive,
yeah,
you know?
You do know that with the proximity of readers of the publications that live in Kansas City or near Kansas City
Yeah.
or around Kansas City, that we're all just going to have to fly to Kansas City. How far is it
yeah,
a drive for you to drive to Kansas City, Miranda? It can't be that far.
10 hours.
Oh, it's a 10-hour drive?
Yeah.
But that flight would,
I mean, it's get on one road and go though. Like you
yeah.
just get on I-70 and you stay there forever.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh gosh. When I
Yeah.
went to Maine, I was on I-70 for so long.
So no, but like Elaine and Lisa and
Yeah, yeah.
Brandon and Astrid all live within proximity to Kansas City. And so I feel like that in the next year, I'm going to plan a trip out to Kansas City so that we can all just hang out.
Yeah.
Um,
So we're not ready to make that trip. Um, my in-laws are in the Kansas City area and we told, both families that we wouldn't be doing the holiday road trip this year.
right.
And that's because, last year we went for Christmas. Went to, Kansas City, spent time with her family first, went down to Tulsa, spent time with my family, and then drove back. And at a gas station in Kansas, I was threatened for being trans.
Mm.
So since that happened, we haven't been doing interstate road travel.
Right.
Um, hopefully, you know, things get better and we can at some time. So, but yeah, that's sorry to like
I'm just,
bring it
I'm
all
literally,
down.
yeah, I'm literally just saying, like, next summer, I'm at the very least going to fly to Kansas City and hang out with who will hang out. If I fly into Kansas City, you'll come into town, right? Right, Brandon?
I guess.
We'll
Yeah,
send a lane to
definitely.
go fetch him or something.
Yeah. I'll make sure you get a room of your own for a
Oh
few
yeah,
days.
you could rent a Airbnb or something, a house.
Like that would be like if I could get an Airbnb with like 3 or 4 bedrooms in Kansas
Yeah.
City, then convince like Elaine and Lisa and Brandon to come, and we just hang out for 4 days. And
Play pickleball, Eileen said.
yeah,
Yeah.
we could even get we could even get Eileen to use like her her stewardess points to get a flight
Yeah.
out, out to,
Yeah.
and we could just hang out for a week, for a few 4 or 5 days. I think that'd be great.
I
Yeah,
have to I have to show y'all something pickle related that's related to the food pickles, not to pickleball.
oh
Oh,
oh
pickle
okay.
slices.
So yeah, so I went to Hot Topic with my kids a couple weeks ago, and there was a set of like 5 different pickle earrings, and like there's there's a lot of like jokes and memes about trans femmes and pickles. So I had to get the pickle earrings.
Yeah,
And the
spironolactone
reason, yeah,
spironolactone gives you huge pickle cravings. I see a jar of pickles,
Uh,
I eat the whole thing.
hmm.
yeah. So it like it's a potassium sparing diuretic. It like flushes the testosterone out of your system, but also your salt and electrolytes.
Yeah,
So we all crave pickles to get our electrolyte
yeah,
fill.
pickles.
Okay.
I'd like a big, fat, very long pickle, and I'd like to get
Ooh.
all of the pickles. I don't want a little gherkin, okay? Little gherkins are not satisfying in any way.
In any way.
Oh gosh. Okay. I think that was my closing thought.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Um, so
Well,
Trauma Tuesday again.
yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you both. I started a group chat with you guys. If we're gonna keep doing trauma talk, I think that we should round robin the host of trauma talk.
hmm,
Okay.
Would you be comfortable with that, Miranda? Would everybody in the audience be comfortable if, like, every time we did trauma talk, one of us, other than the person previously, led trauma talk? Would that be cool? I think it would be because,
I think it'd be cool, and I really loved what Brandon did today and picking
oh, thank
the
you.
topic and
yeah,
where this discussion has gone. This has been really
yeah,
great, I think.
yeah.
Thank you.
I
I'm
think.
really glad to hear that. I wasn't sure, how it would go or anything. So, but
Well,
thank you.
the resounding opinion from the readership is that we should keep doing, because invariably the trauma talk videos that get published after we do the lives, they get a lot of activity,
Yeah.
both in Substack and on YouTube. So I don't think there is enough trauma talk or talking about trauma.
Well, people want to avoid it most of the time.
Yeah.
Um,
And so, watching people be vulnerable human beings makes other vulnerable human beings less vulnerable because they understand
Yeah.
they're not alone. So, all right, well, cool. Well, then, yeah, let's keep doing that. So next Tuesday, Miranda, you're on the hot plate. You better have a good fucking topic.
The pressure.
All right, well, cool. Brandon, Miranda, thank you both as always.
Yeah.
I feel like we keep doing this. We're gonna have to give Trauma Talk its own domain.
Why
I
not?
mean, I'd be okay with that, but
Yeah.
just like we do that, I'm not gonna turn into Frasier. Okay, no Frasier.
Oh, I have a trans related Frasier meme somewhere in my stash that I created. It's like trans and trauma related. I will try to dig it up.
Dig it up,
And
and you're gonna post it in the meme channel. Okay, here we go.
yeah.
For everybody that's in the live, by the way, we have a group of Signal chats that all the paid subscribers get access to. And one of those channels is Elaine's Meme Swap, where basically Elaine, Miranda, Sarah, and like 2 other members of the crew all spam memes in there. I don't do that at all. I have no idea how any of that works. And so it is an interesting activity. So yeah, if you have that, yeah, dig it up. Maybe I'll post it the way I did your murder crows.
Yeah.
The attempt to murder. Did you see that? That note, like
Yeah.
almost,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
note
that note
has
went.
more likes than anything I've written.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
I feel like an influencer. How the fuck does that happen? It's not even my meme. I took it from somebody. That's why I try to attribute in the future. But anyway, okay, cool. All right. Well, Miranda, Brandon, thank you both very much. There will not be a live tonight. If there is a live tonight, it will be live from the Judas Priest concert and probably only for a few minutes.
And Wendy will be in her leather mommy get up.
Yeah, I'll be in my leather mommy get up with the hat and the stud leather wristbands and shit. So, all right. Well, thank you both. Love you both.
All right.
Love you.